as I was meeting the drivers, that's when I got guns pulled to my head, freeze, FBI, put your hands up, you know, kind of a shocking moment in life. I felt like I was in the movie for a minute.
You're listening to the Tamar Yonah Show on video. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Sometimes it takes a huge jolt in our lives to inspire us to make a change. And today's guest has a fascinating story himself. He went from being a professional marijuana grower and dealer to, well, being sent to prison. And that's where he found his new life and how important it is to become a Torah observant Jew. So it's a really fascinating story. We thought we'd listen and share with you. So without further ado, let's say hello to our guest, Dovid, and host Tamar Yonah.
Hello, everybody. Like I said, my name is Dovid.
Hi, Dovid. It's very, 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 very good to have you on the show. And I'm not that familiar with your story. I always like to hear a story together with the audience for the first time. So my reactions are genuine. And also that I know to ask you a question, because if I already know the answer, I may not think to ask you, and then other people don't get to know. So maybe we can start from the very beginning. And you can tell us, you know, there's a little bit of an accent that you have in English. So maybe you can tell us where you were born, if you were raised religious or not, and then how you got into dealing drugs. So go ahead.
Well, I was originally born in Ukraine, Kiev, Soviet Union at the time. I never got exposed to Judaism until I was about 8 years old, 9 years old, but I always wanted to be connected to Hashem. So I always ran to my mom's house and wanted to go to church. She told me, we are Jewish people, we don't go to church, but she never told me where Jewish people go. So, and I don't know, maybe I wasn't smart enough to ask at the time, but I got approached by someone in my school telling me that they know that I'm Jewish and let's go to synagogue. I was like, what synagogue? And they told me it's like a church for Jewish people. So I said, I gotta ask my mom. I went to ask my mom. My mom said, there is no way. I'm not letting you go to no synagogue. And to me, there was a green light. I went to the synagogue and I was very excited to see people like me there, you know, practicing Judaism. I got introduced to Shaliach, Rav Karasik in Kiev. It was a long time ago. And he told me, your mom Jew? I said, yes. And he goes, what about your grandma? I said, she's also Jewish. He goes, can you bring documents to prove? I said, not a problem. I ran to my house. I stole the documents. I brought it. And he goes, do you have Brit? I said, no, I don't, but I want one. I said, how much does it cost? He goes, it's free. I said, I want two. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm sorry. Wait, he asked you if you wanted to do a circumcision, a Brit.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so that's for the audience so they can understand that.
So, but I did not know what it was. So I said, of course, I do want it. And
how old were you at this time?
I was about 8, 9 years old.
Wow.
So, you know, they told me not a problem. They give me like a course. It was like a 3-week course. They were teaching me about Judaism. I was learning Aleph base and, you know, what it's like to be a Jew in the mission and blah, blah, blah. And 3 weeks after, some people came from New York and in the rental apartment, I got Brit, you know, but the way I got it, it was very weird because they gave me documents for my mom to sign. So I just went around the corner, forced my mom's signature, came back and got my Brit and came back home. My mom already knew what happened. The first thing she says, oh my God, when Nazis come, you're first gonna go to Babi Yar.
Wait, stop. I didn't understand. So you did this without your mother's permission. You forged her name. Why?
Exactly.
Why didn't you want to bring your mother into this, involve your mother in this at all?
Because to do the Brit, it's a medical procedure and you need mother's permission. So the people that came from New York required a signature from the parent because I was not old enough.
Right, but you didn't think that she would want you to do this?
I didn't really care at the time. You know, all my life was hunted as a Jew. And, you know, and I finally felt proud about being a Jew. And it was like, to me, it was a big life change. But then as I was getting deep into the Judaism, I invited my mom to come to the synagogue for Shabbos because, you know, check it out. And then she saw me davening like this. She took me by my ear. She said, "That's it. No more
Davening means
synagogue."
praying for anyone who
Yes,
doesn't know.
yes, davening, praying, and like when we pray, we do like this movement, which reflects like a candle light. My mom didn't know what it was. She thought it was crazy. She took me by the ear. She said, "You're not coming back to the synagogue." But I ended up skipping Russian school and going to synagogue until the kids that I was going with to the synagogue, they went to Kfar Chabad. And to go to Kfar Chabad to learn at the yeshiva, it required mother signature and authorized documents and things like that. So I couldn't force that. And they ended up going. I ended up getting disappointed. I stopped going. And then like 3 years or 4 years later, we went to United States.
Okay, so hold on for a minute. So can I ask, where was your father in the picture?
My father was not Jewish. He left us when I was a kid, when I was young, and he was not in the picture. I was raised by my mother.
And you're an only child?
No, not anymore. My mom got remarried, and I have a sister that's in the United States with my family.
I see. Okay, and so when you were doing all this, you were still 9 years old, going to synagogue by yourself, not
yes.
bringing your mother into the picture
Skipping
at all?
school, knowing that I'm gonna go to United States, so school didn't matter to me. I just wanted to go to Bet Knesset and
That
be
Knesset
connected.
synagogue.
Synagogue, yeah, I wanted to go to the synagogue and just be there because I felt really good there, and I didn't understand why, and I was there the whole time.
And did you learn Hebrew there, or did you pray in Russian?
We were learning Hebrew, but my language learning skills was not good for some reason, like other kids were. So it was not something that was easy for me. So I didn't really learn much except like simple stuff, like mother, father, things
So when
like
you
that.
read
But
in a prayer book at the synagogue, you were praying in Russian.
No, we weren't praying Russian. We were praying Hebrew, but I did not know what I was, what I was reading. I just knew the aleph base. I knew how to connect letters and how to read. So
okay, so you learned how to read Hebrew, but you didn't understand what you were reading.
Exactly.
I see. And then you decided to throw away everything because you weren't able to go to camp and you felt alienated, and you just dropped everything?
I just felt disappointed with God, and I stopped coming.
And
when
and how
young,
old were you? How old were you then?
It was like I was like nine and a half or something like that.
So we're talking like second grade.
Yes, we're talking like second
This
grade.
is like amazing that someone who is a second grader has such a independent streak in him that he does something like this. It's just fascinating just to hear this. All right.
Well,
and so your mother decided to go to the United States. Why and how?
My grandfather immigrated there when I was just born. So he applied for a family reunition thing, and we got the green cards and we left. It took a long time though. It took like I think over 6 years because
And
it was
what
still
year was
communist
this?
country. It was 1993, 94.
Okay, so and the Soviet Union broke up just
91, but we
around that
applied
timeline.
we applied to immigrate before the breakup of Soviet Union, so it was a big process. We were kind of stuck within transaction of this whole
transition
breaking up thing. Yeah.
Okay, and then when you went to the States, what state did you go to?
We went to Kansas. I lived in Overland Park most of my life in the United States. Went to high school there, went to Key University. And
did you fit in? Were you a good student, or you were?
No, I was not a good student. I didn't fit in. I couldn't speak English for many, many years. It was very tough. I was depressed. I went to synagogue one time for Shabbat. No one ever introduced himself to me, so I didn't came back, and it was it. I mean, the American life just took me by the ear, and
So it was like sink or swim, and
yeah,
you sunk.
I felt like my animal soul just got a hold of my body really good, and.
All right. And so then what happened after high school? You did you start to get involved with marijuana and drugs before, or
well,
what?
I tried marijuana when we first came, okay, because I don't know why, but I tried marijuana and then I couldn't learn English. I was depressed. I started smoking, and then I started selling little cigarettes in school, and just start progressing my criminal career, which you called. and I got in trouble. I got on probation, and and I couldn't finish probation because I was keep failing my drug tests and what they call. But I smoked weed since I was 14 years old, up until 2019. That's when I stopped.
So usually people, I mean, I think that usually people that smoke weed usually do it in a group. They have friends that do it too. You don't usually do it alone.
Did, yeah, no, I did have Russian friends that was with me at that
Oh yeah,
time.
Russian friends in Kansas, because I'm trying to wonder how
Yeah,
you ended up there.
that's like there is like over 4,000 families in Kansas, and yeah, I had some Russian friends. Okay, but
Were they Jewish?
Yeah.
And were they also like not good students or what?
No, they were good students. I was not into the learning. I was the only one not into learning.
Okay. And so what happened then? You graduated high school?
A guy dropped out from high school. Okay, and then I privately went to KU University, took some classes, private classes, just to kind of get my grammar with English a little bit better. And I felt like I got what I needed it, and that was it. And through this whole time, I was always involved with selling weed. It started from high school selling joints, and then I got into the more and more and more. And then I ended up in California. I had farm, 4,000 people working for me. I had licensed farm where I was
wait, you're getting ahead of yourself. Hang on a minute. So when you were in high school and you were selling marijuana, did your mother know about your marijuana use, and did she know that you were selling?
She found several times weed on me, and she dumped it into the toilet a couple times, and then I ended up leaving the house. I ended up just getting an apartment and living in my mom's home and living on my own.
Okay, and then what made you decide to go to California?
Because that's where it was legal for medical purposes, and I got inspired. We moved with some of my friends over there, learned more about it. I ended up working for somebody there, and then as I got more experience, I ended up getting my own license and starting my own operation.
And so you had to have land. You said that you bought a farm?
Yes, we were renting farms.
Oh, you're renting a farm. Okay, so you didn't have to have like a large.
Yes, we rented a bunch of farms. We hired people. We paid people that were doing most of the job for us, and I was at the end just was kind of a controlling type of person of this whole thing.
And did the owners of these farms that you were renting from, did they know what you were growing on their farms that you were renting?
They were growing it for me. I was getting a license, okay, and the license is limited, so I needed to get more licenses. In order to get more licenses, I had to get other farmers involved. So these licenses were under these farms, and they were doing the job. They were growing it.
So if you got a license, then it would, sounds like it was legal what you were doing.
On the state level, it was, but when you take a product outside of the California, you get 4 times as much. So the greed took over and ended up distributing marijuana to states that on federal law, I was violating federal law.
And how many people did you have working for you?
Over 4,000.
Over 4,000 people.
Exactly.
And you were in touch with each of these 4,000, or you had like your subheads and then they had?
This type of business, you have to be in touch with every one of them because there's a lot of competition. There are a lot of guys that, trying to do the same thing as I was doing. And
how did you recruit them? How did you know you weren't recruiting a narc? Somebody was going to tell on you. And
places in California where we operated, there's pretty much just the hippie families that wanted to be away from the city life, and it's very easy. You check how long they've been there, how long they live there, and it's not hard things.
So you had your own little security department where you would what's the word, vet people.
Yes, you can just go to the city and pay a couple $100 to someone to give you the information about anyone that lives there.
Our producer Matt is asking if this was in Northern California.
Absolutely.
It was. Interesting. And why is that? Because there's more farmland up there, or it's more pot
It's a
smoking country, or what?
more hippie land, more
Uh-huh.
pot land. Yes, I mean it starts all the way from the border of Reno and it goes all the way up into the Mendocino County. So the territory is big. But,
Okay, and so you were doing this for how many years, and then how did you get convicted?
I was doing it for like 6 years, and I got convicted because of the person that was doing most of my buyings. He got in trouble. He faced some serious charges, and he had to make a deal with the federal government.
Oh, so he turned
So
you in for getting off
he
himself.
exact. Well, I don't know if he got off, but maybe
Lighter
reducing the
sentence.
sentence or something like that. I'm not sure. That's information. It's classified. They would never let me know about it. But he ended up doing what's called the sting operation, is where he kind of puts a bait and I bite on it.
I see. Interesting. Do
It
you
was
want
a
to tell us
setup.
what
It was
that
like
bait
it was
was?
like a movie. It was really crazy because he called me up and he said, "I need you to come out." And I told him, "Listen, I'm busy." He goes, "I want to talk about, not over the phone, about expanding potential double and triple in profits." So on one of the trips that one of my delivery people were making, I figured, okay, I'll fly out and drive back with them with the money. It would be convenient, and see some of the people that were doing a good job for me. And when I came out to that state, I ended up meeting the drivers. And as I was meeting the drivers, that's when I got guns pulled to my head, freeze, FBI, put your hands up, kind of a shocking moment in life. I felt like I was in the movie for a minute.
And how old
But
were you at that time? What year was this?
that was 2009.
Okay, and you were approximately how old?
30 years old.
30 years old, and you still didn't have a family or anything like that yet. Okay, all right. So now you're arrested, and tell us what happens.
When I got arrested, I plead guilty. I got my sentence reduced for accepting responsibility. I got sentenced, and I flew to Oklahoma Transfer Center. I was a hippie type of guy. I had a long hair, and in Oklahoma Transfer Center, it's a facility where you get designated based on your crime, which prison you're gonna go to serve your time. So in that pod, you get everyone from murderers to rapists to white-collar crime people. I mean, everyone, gang members, everyone is there. And as I got booked there, I walk into the facility. I see someone standing there with a long beard and a keep on. I was shocked, in the prison uniform. I immediately came up to the person and I said, I'm Jewish too. And he was scared. He was like, didn't want to talk to me. So I told him, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. I remember that part all my life. Anytime I had any problems, I always said that verse, whether I believed it or ate pork, it doesn't matter what I did in my life. If I had any issues, I knew Hashem is there. I can say the word and things will be fixed.
Okay, so let me just say to our listeners, just a minute, Dovid. Hashem literally means the name, but it's the name of God. That's what we refer to as God, and so you went up to me, and the Shema Yisrael is like the fundamental prayer of the Jewish people. It's what the first prayer that we teach our little children, and they say it before they go to bed at night, when they wake up in the morning, etc. All right, so go ahead.
So when I told him that, his eyes kind of broke down, his guards went down, and he started asking me, about me. So I told him all about me, and that I'm Jewish and I had a Jewish name, I had Brit, and blah blah blah, and this guy, he ended up getting the charges for. He's the guy that put all the mezuzahs. I don't know if you want to explain to people what the mezuzahs are. He put all the mezuzahs in the White House in Reagan time.
All right, let me just say what a mezuzah is. It's basically a parchment with the Shema Yisrael, with that prayer we just spoke about, on this parchment, and it put it into sometimes very beautiful encasings, and it's put on the doorpost of Jewish homes and on the rooms, the doors of the rooms of Jewish homes. So tell us again, just backtrack.
So this guy is ended up to be a big rabbi, okay, that really politically involved, that one of the Connecticut government asked his community to vote for him, okay, and he promised to give his, he ran a bunch of women's schools for girls in New York. He promised to give a big tzedakah if they vote. So they voted for him. They the guy got elected. And the rabbi called him, asked him, when you're going to give the tzedakah, when you're going to give the tzedakah. And
that's charity. Tzedakah is charity.
Yeah, so when he's going to give the charity, and the guy ended up calling federal government and telling them that this guy extorting him for money. And he recorded him saying specific word on the phone that counts as extortion. So this rabbi got 4 years in prison, federal prison, for trying to collect what the guy promised to give him. But anyways, he told me, listen, Jewish people don't have long hair. I said, no problem. I called the Mexican guy. We went into the cell. They cut my hair. He goes, you need to get on the kosher food. I said, no problem. So I called a chaplain. Chaplain is the Christian guy that's in charge in the facility for all the religious needs. In America, if you're in prison, religious needs are honored without questions asked. But the chaplain comes to me. He goes, listen, kosher food is a privilege. Not just because you're Jewish, it doesn't mean that you're a practice Jew. So I need to give you a test to see if you know about Judaism, blah blah blah. So he gives me this test, like 30 some pages. And in 30 years that I haven't been to synagogue, haven't looked at anything that is Jewish, I remember everything I learned in 1 year going in synagogue in Ukraine. I answered 100% all the questions.
Wow.
An hour later, they brought tefillin, set of tefillin, siddur. They put me on the kosher diet.
Okay, again, let's slow down. So tefillin is the phylacteries that a Jewish man puts on every day. And a siddur is a prayer book. Go ahead. So they brought you these things.
So they brought me all these things. So for the next 2 weeks, as we were waiting to be transferred to different prison, okay, me and this rabbi would, pray every 3 times a day. We did the Shabbat and everything, and I, all of a sudden, my soul just woke up. And another reason why my soul woke up is the moment I crossed the prison, everyone, and I'm talking about everyone that I ever knew except my mom, forgot about me. People told me, yes, we will answer the phone. We will put money on your books. We will send you letters. We will do everything. The moment I got across the bar and I tried to call first my friend, and I had money, okay? So, but when you still call someone, the operator, you hear the person answers the phone, and the operator tells them, this is a call from prison, from an inmate, this and this and this. It's not a collect call. If you accept, press 1, and you don't accept, press, and boom. And the operator said the call was not accepted. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a mistake. Maybe he accidentally pressed the wrong button. I dial again, and I hear him say hello. And then again, the operator said this. Before they even operator finished the call, he just hang up the phone. And whatever list of friends that I had, that I swear I thought that like worst to worst will happen that I can count on, no one picked up the phone. Everyone forgot about me except my mom. And that right there, I couldn't accept and understand until I was like already a year into the prison time, because during those 12 months, I was like this little puppy, that wanted to get someone to pick up the phone, talk to me, I wanted to hear someone from outside, people that I knew, because it was not easy to be there, you understand? Although, I come from a Russian background, I'm not a weak type of guy. Plus, it's not, the prisons are not what you see in the movie where people just can start doing things with you, out of nothing. If you are a stand-up type of guy and you have you're respectful and you treat people with respect, nothing will happen. But still, it's an environment you don't want to be in, you understand? And that's when I start, just my soul just start turning to God. And during those times, even after I got transferred, I was in the prison where people that are not United States citizens, there are serving time there and they're getting deported. So I was in a facility where there is not a single United States citizen inmate. Everyone's there from like different country. It's 5,000 inmates. 4,000 are Latin Americans, from Salvadorians to Mexicans to, I mean, you name it, they're there. Then you have Jamaicans, and there was like maybe 5 or 6 Europeans, which included me. Okay, and during those times, I was getting kosher food and everything. And the moment I came to the facility, immediately next week, I'm getting a visitor. And I'm thinking, who's coming to see me? And guess who's coming to see me? Guys from the Chabad. They drove 4 hours to Georgia Folkston Penitentiary in the swamps where there is no hotel, no nothing. They had to spend the night over there in order to come back home after, just to spend 30 minutes what okayed for them to visit me, to make sure that I got what I need, to give me a Torah lesson. And they did it every single week.
Wow.
And it
God bless
impacted me so well that I told myself, when I'm getting out, I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to touch people's soul. I'm going to try to get people that are Jewish, that have nothing, no connection to Judaism, and trying to get them to understand what our mission are, or what we're supposed to do. And people are telling me, you're going to get released. You're going to take your siddur. You're going to take your tefillin. You're going to throw it in the trunk of your car, and you're going to forget it. I guess they were wrong. I came out of prison.
And how many years did you get?
I spent 4 years. I was facing big conspiracy charges, organized crime charges, but my attorney, I hired a very good attorney. He wanted to take the case to the trial because they said, listen, we're only going to plead guilty to what he got caught with. Everything else is like your word against his word, plus you have a snitch here, that's trying to cut a deal in a trial. It's not gonna work, So they agreed, I plead guilty to what I got caught with. So my charges went from 20 to life to 4 year. I don't remember what the max was. I never got the max of my in federal law. They have like a bracket. I got the low because I never been in trouble, and 4 years. This was the sentence. And because I was not a U.S. citizen, I had to do 100% of my time.
All right. So let me ask you, did you experience any anti-Semitism in prison, or did you get into any fights, or nobody said, hey, Jew boy, or?
No. I experienced anti-Semitism when I was growing up in Russia. And that's the only time I ever faced myself with this. In prison, it was very respectful. First of all, when you come to prison, they ask you for your core documents. They immediately want to know that you are not a rat, you're not a snitch, you didn't plead, you didn't make a deal with the government. So that's the first thing they ask you. You gotta show the documents. In prison, they have a structure. There is a main guy for the Mexicans, main guy for like Salvadorians, main guy for this, but there was no one there to be in charge in for Russians. So because my case was marijuana and I was not Mexican, they told me I had to run with Jamaicans. So here I am, 5'6", short little Jewish guy, running with this big, excuse me for my language, gorilla guys like the Jamaicans with the dreads, they even smoke weed in prison, these guys. And I had a lot of respect, not because respect, but what I mean by respect because of my background. I'm Jewish. They're Rastafarians. I guess Bob Marley always sang about Zion and about his songs, about the Zion, about Jerusalem, about Holy Land, and
did you have to pay in any way, not monetarily, so to speak, but to get this protection under the Jamaicans in the prison? They just took you under their wing, and you didn't have to do anything for the boss, the big guy over there. Nothing.
This is Hollywood. This
Hollywood
doesn't exist in the real life. Maybe it exists in the prisons that like for Americans, but I was not there, so I don't know. I can't speak of that. I heard stories about state prisons, which is, really dirty prisons. I mean,
And what about the
but
rabbi that you were with? Who was protecting him? Who, under whose wing did
we
he go?
had a situation the next day that we arrived. We had a situation with skinheads, and there are skinheads, and we call them woodpeckers. Those are the white rednecks, okay, that don't like Jews. And I see immediately, because I'm a street raised guy. I saw immediately, that something is being talked about. They're looking at us wrong. So I went to the Jamaican main guy, and because the whites were there where we were at Oklahoma, they were minorities. You know, they they made it clear to them that if anything happens to us, there'll be a problem.
Interesting.
So no one came to me and Rabbi for the 2 weeks that I was there. People didn't even say hi. It was just Jamaicans, me and him.
And these Jamaicans that were protecting you, what for instance were they serving time for?
Also drug cases, mostly drug cases.
Mm-hmm.
Distribution of cocaine, marijuana from
And then
Caribbean countries into the US.
And how was your mother taking all of this during these 4 years?
She was freaking out. First of all, she knew I was getting deported. I got deported with a lifetime ban from United States. I'm considered as a danger to society. I don't know why, but I guess marijuana still classifies as a classification with heroin and all the other drugs. So they classified me as danger to society. And because I was not a US citizen, which was my mistake, but I didn't believe that it's a mistake. I think that everything that happened now in my life, there's a big reason for it. And I'm not, I don't regret it, to be honest with you, but I'm banned for life. My family still lives in the United States, and I'm in Israel.
So when they deported you, where did they deport you to?
Kiev, Ukraine.
And then who did you go to? Did you look your father up again?
No, I didn't look anybody up. I went to the synagogue.
Uh-huh, okay.
And in the synagogue, I saw my rabbi. I was shocked. I walk into the synagogue. First thing I see is my rabbi.
Did he remember you?
No, he didn't remember me.
Uh-huh.
You know how many, we were the first ones when he first came to Kiev as a shliach. We were the first ones. There have been thousands of us since then. Thousands. No, he didn't remember me, but he immediately put me with an amazing family from shliach from London that's been in Ukraine for many, many years. I don't want to say any names because I never got the permission to, to get the names involved, but they got me the housing, everything I needed.
Did they know that you were an ex-con? Did they know your background, your story?
Yes, of course. I guess I told them the truth. They checked everything. But when you meet someone and you see someone, you get an expression. First of all, I come from a good family. Okay, my mom was a nurse in the Ukraine. My grandma was a doctor. I come from a very good family background. It's not like my family was not well. I'm not talking financial well. I'm talking about educational well. From a good educated family, so I was raised well. It's just it happened. I was a hard kid, and it was my issues more. But I believe I have a good heart. They sensed that I had a good heart. I didn't lie to them. I told them exactly what's going on, and they sensed me immediately. That I have a good soul, and
they helped you.
The way I carried myself, they helped me. Yes.
Going back for a second to prison, besides eating kosher there because you were becoming more Torah observant, were you trying to keep Shabbat there? And if you were, how did that go?
We kept everything there.
How did you keep Shabbat if, let's say, I don't know, maybe you had to do something that was electronic or pushing a door open? I don't know.
You don't push doors open. There is no light to turn on, turn off. Everything is done by the guards. through
Interesting.
the whole time. Shabbat, not Shabbat, it doesn't matter.
You didn't have
You
to,
have-
they didn't have you, like when you were in jail, did you have like a prison job, like you worked in the laundry or the library or something?
No, I had a religious job. I was in charge of the fake Jews that claimed to be a Jews just to get on the kosher food, and we had our close minyan, fake minyan, but in reality there were like 3 of us that were Jews there. It was
Why did non-Jews want to have kosher food? Was the kosher food better than the prison
of
food?
course, yes.
Why?
Of
Give us an
course.
example of
First
what
of
they
all, it
ate and
comes
what you
like a
ate.
dinner trays, all sealed. Everything is sealed, and you get fruits and vegetables. And what they get like a tray with no plate, with no nothing, with like a slab of beans, and that's it.
Interesting.
They get no chicken, no nothing. I mean, you eat like a rat.
And was this kosher food paid for by the state, or was it the Chabad and other Jewish organizations
No. It's paid by the prisons. Prisons are run by the corporation. I don't remember exactly the name of them, but it's a private prison. So there is no state-owned prisons. Everything is private in America. It's a business.
So that's interesting. So the regular
By
prisoners,
law, they have to provide Jamaicans with vegetarian diet, Jews
Uh-huh.
with the kosher diet, Muslims with the halal diet. This is the
Yes.
law.
And so were there people who wanted to become Muslims for the halal food, or Jamaicans for the vegetarian food because they get
Yeah.
more fresh vegetables?
Exactly.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I never knew this. Okay. All right. So now you're in the Ukraine. Approximately how old are you now?
No, I'm in Israel.
No. You went to the Ukraine. They deported you to the Ukraine. You got
yes.
involved with the synagogue there. They set you up a bit, right?
It was
They
30,
gave you a
yeah,
place
it
to
was,
sleep.
yeah, exactly.
And then, okay,
30
so what happened then? How did you get to Israel? How old were you then? And then how did you get to Israel?
I came to Ukraine. I was 34. Okay, and Maidan happened, and it
What
freaked
happened?
me out. Maidan,
My-
this Ukrainian throwing the government thing. They threw the president off the chair, and it was
Okay.
like the revolution happened. What do you
Yes.
call it?
Okay.
And I'm looking outside of my window, and I see a bunch of bandits walking down the street with sticks, and I hear gunshots. So I called someone. I was like, "What's going on?" He goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's not guns. It's a cocktail Molotov, or what they called." I'm like, "What's cocktail Molotov?" He goes, "Oh, it's just the bottles with gas inside. That's what you hear. They explode. It's not a gunshot." I'm like, "What?" I said, "No." I said, "I cannot have this." I went to the Israeli embassy, and I did Aliyah.
Okay. And what year are we talking about now, approximately?
I've been here, 7 years now?
All right.
Almost
So like
7
around
years.
2015.
Something like that.
Okay. All right. So you come here. How old are you at this time?
Right now, I'm 43, I think.
No, but when
43.
so 43 minus 7 years.
7.
So, okay. So you're in your late 30s, and obviously now you're married. I'm assuming you have children. So
Yes, I
how
have
did all
3
of that
boys.
happen? And
How
well, you're
did I get
religious
married?
because religious people usually don't meet their mates the same way. They don't go to a pub or parties and they have a friend of a friend, so just tell us.
When I came to Ukraine, I met a girl, okay, and we ended up getting a civil marriage in
So you
Ukraine.
married already in the Ukraine before you came to
Yes,
Israel.
exactly.
Okay, and she was a
happened.
Jewish girl.
Everything happened very fast. Why it happened fast, I don't know. Maybe only Hashem knows. But I immediately, when I came to Kiev, I met someone. We immediately began a relationship, and we ended up getting married.
How long did that take from the time you met to the time you got married?
It didn't take very long.
You're
It
talking
was a very friendly. It was very friendly relationship. It was not based on sexual attraction. It was more based on mutual understanding. And
are we talking a few months or?
Yeah.
Okay.
About a few
and
months.
your mother, I'm assuming, did not come to your wedding, right?
No, my mom didn't come to my wedding. No.
And was she happy about you getting married, or was she concerned?
Yes, she was happy because she was a good girl. She was a director of like a big firm that had offices all over Ukraine and at the time Russia. She was a director of accounting firm for the auto parts company. which still exist, and it was good. It was good.
Okay, so you came with your new wife to Israel. You made Aliyah. You moved to Israel, and that was, you're saying, around 7 years ago, correct? In 2015ish. All right, and then since then, you had your first children here in Israel. There's Savras.
My last two boys are born here in Israel. Yes.
So you had children that were born in the Ukraine.
Yes, I had a boy. My first boy was born in Ukraine.
Okay, all right. So and so you're a religious Jew now. You look back at your life. Can we ask what you're doing today? How you're making a living?
Yes, of course. I work for the financial institution that provides financial services to the English-speaking countries, people that involved in, I should say, you can say it's like a gambling, but it's really not gambling. It's called the CFD trading. Okay, in Israel, there's a lot of bad reputation because of the 90% of the industry for many years was a scam. Okay, but now government is doing much better job of controlling the industry. So there are senior companies here, about 3 or 4 senior companies here that are operating legally under government regulations and providing real services or real trading services for clients. And this is the one of the companies I work for.
And
but
so
when I came here, I did not got into the job immediately. I started working at the Mifal factory that takes minivans from Germany, and they make like they put seats in there, air conditions in there, like, you know, they make like monit, what they call it in Israel.
Taxis.
Yeah, like a bus taxis, exactly. But when I worked my first month for them, and it was, my job was from Sunday till Friday, 12 o'clock, all 5-6 days a week, okay, over 10 hours a day. And I brought home after tax and everything, I think not even 4,000 shekels. I looked at my wife and I said, when the government package is finished, we're not gonna survive. I need to figure out immediately and do something about it. So I Googled English speaking jobs and immediately got into the sales interview, and they hired me. And I don't know, but
so you're trilingual, right? You speak Russian, Hebrew, and English.
Exactly, but I don't use Russian, only at home.
So you speak to your children in Russian and to your wife in Russian.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. And so now, with everything that's come around, you've rebuilt your life here in the land of Israel. As a Torah observant Jew, you have your past. Does your community know your past? Do your neighbors,
I don't hide my past from anyone, because this is one of the things that I use to get guys off the streets, bring them to synagogue, get them to understand that, you know, get them to learn who they really are, because a lot of people don't know themselves and they're looking for themselves and they're trying to find themselves on the streets with friends, especially in Israel. Smoking pot, it's like almost legal. So every teenager that I come across, I see they're using it. You understand? So I try to share my story with them, show them pictures of what I used to look like and the things I used to do, and then explain them that this is illusion. This is not a real life. This is not, it's not happiness. It's, you know, maybe it's a door to get you out of the house, you know, from a yelling parent or something like that, to get your mind off things that you don't want to be part of. But there is a greater part of you that if you just, you know, if you just understand it and learn it, it will give you much more happiness within yourself about who you really are. And we're doing a very good job here in Ashdod. We have a very amazing community, Chabad Baliyah, which is well known between the Russian shliachs, okay, Israel-wide. And now we are even really also getting to know, people getting to know about us outside of Israel. But we're doing a very good job of rebuilding Jewish culture, the real Jewish culture, because Ashdod is the there's a lot of Russians there that don't like religious people. And to be honest with you, if I was not exposed to the Judaism the way I got exposed to, and I would come to Israel, I would probably get big turned off by that as well, because uh, the people that the how should I word it properly? The proper mannered religious people you would not meet in the bus. You understand? And when people get on the buses and they see this mass of, I shouldn't speak bad about them, but most people, they don't care about their hygienes. You understand? Their nails are long. I don't know. They're not really mannered. All they know in their mind is Torah and studying and nothing else. You know, you walk into their houses and it's like a huge mess. And this is not the Judaism that we promote. You understand? Yes,
Right.
what they're doing is good. I'm not talking bad about them, you know, because they have their own reasons. Now I more understand, since I live here more, I more understand them, but I would never become like that. Okay, but the Jewish life that we're trying to show is the beautiful Jewish life. You know, Torah teaches that you have to have a good hygiene. You have to be presentable person. You're representing Hashem, so you have to look good. You have to, you know, you have to get someone who knows nothing about the Judaism to be able to look at you and be like, I want to be like this guy. Who is he? Where he goes?
Set an example. Yeah.
Exactly.
Are you a rabbi? Did you get
No. I'm not a rabbi.
But you work in Kiruv, which means that you work in trying to bring other Jews closer to God and to Torah.
I'm a good sales guy. I don't sell BS, excuse me for my language. Okay. I sell truth and I'm good at it. So I'm very good to get the person to my Rav, and my Rav does the work. You know, I'm a very good person to get a case someone to come to the you know, to Verbregen, which is a gathering once a week or once a month that we do, where we invite good Russian speakers, you know, to come. We pay good money to good Russian speakers, people, Jewish speakers, religious speakers, to come and present the beautiful Judaism to people.
All right, and so you're part of the Chabad movement, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, and I just want to tell everybody there are many different flavors of Judaism, and what he's describing. There are some that are just into Torah study; they don't care about the physical world so much. There are others that are more, have one foot in this world and one foot in that world, etc. I don't want to go there right now, but I just wanted to explain that to our listeners. So, hearing your whole story and hearing how you've turned your life around, how you've become a family man now, how you're working with you know, wayward youth and bringing them back to their Jewish roots and helping them to establish families and become upstanding citizens, etc. What is your message after all of this that you would like to leave our listeners with after they turn off this podcast?
This is what my message to the listeners. We have a one creator. He created everyone the same. Okay. The only difference is everyone have a different role and function in this world. Okay. I'm sure there's, like you told me earlier, there would be probably non-Jewish listeners here on the podcast. So my message to everyone is, don't try to be somebody else. Just try to be who you are. Understand who your creator is. Understand that everything you see around you, okay, he didn't create it for bad. There is hidden good in everything, and try to get best out of it. Try to bring life, happiness into the world. Try to bring love to the world, you know, and by being happy, being shining, and loving other people, it's like it's like COVID. It spreads out, it spreads around very fast, and it will make our world a better place, and it will bring Mashiach here. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the Messiah to come, and that's what I can recommend to everyone. You know, Rebbe told his Chassid people, when you see someone, try to see good in them. Everything else doesn't matter. When you meet a person, try to see only good in them. Doesn't matter if they're Jewish, if they're not Jewish, because Rebbe spread out his words for everyone. You understand? It doesn't matter whether you're Chabad, you are Kippah Sruga, or whatever denomination of Judaism. Doesn't matter who you are. You have to love everyone and treat everyone the same, and only see good in them. Only see good in them. And when you see good in them, their good will come out as a flower, and it will shine, and it will attract more good.
Well, this is very inspirational. I think that you should write a book. And I think that you should get, I mean, you obviously don't need it, but it would be good maybe to get your smicha to become a rabbi as well, have your, a following and help other people even more, perhaps. I don't know, but it's been a very, very inspiring story, Dovid. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And I apologize. I'm very nervous. That's why you probably hear a lot of accent and, I'm not used to speak in front of people that I don't even see. Okay, so hopefully, my message was clear, and hopefully people can, take this message to the world. And action, we need action. That's all we need. We need just to go out there and do good things.
Do you have any contact info, a website, something where if somebody wants to connect with you, can?
Listen, people can connect with me absolutely if they want, okay? But I'm telling you, there are professional people in Chabad, in other Jewish organizations that people can get lots of answers from. I don't want to sound religiously incorrect, but as long as people believe in the creator and try not to worship, a statue, or I don't know, maybe I'm going off the subject, but the person that believes in one God, okay, not some kind of a statue or, a flower or, or a rock or whatever, that would be the proper person to speak with. And there are a lot of people out there that are doing much better job than I do. I'm just a beginner. I'm not as good as I might sound, but there are a lot of professional people out there that can assist with whatever it is. And Chabad is everywhere, just like Coca-Cola.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. And I also want to thank our producer, Matt Zucker, for being with us and helping me with the show today. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Dovid. May God bless you and give you all of the tools and all of the capabilities and abilities and funding and everything that you need in order to be able to reach more and more people, to help them improve their lives and
thank you for having me. I'm
continue
gonna
doing
let
the
you
good you're
guys
doing.
go, get back to my job. Again, thank you so much. It's an honor and pleasure.
Thank you. Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.